Hello everyone, welcome to DotNetMirror channel. If you are building web application, APIs or microservices, deploying them to the cloud is just the first step. To give your application a professional look and reliable brand presence, you need a custom domain. By default, Azure assigns a subdomain like your app.azurewebsites.net to your web app. But in a production environment, you want your users to access it via your own branded URL like your company.com. In today's video, we are going to walk through the exact step-by-step process of configuring an existing custom domain in Azure App Service. We will cover the DNS records you need to create, how Azure validates the domain ownership. Before we dive into the details, if you are new to the channel, please make sure hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell to get updates on .NET and Azure. Let's get started. Let's look at the agenda. First, we will briefly review the what is Azure App Service. Next, we will take a high level look at the multiple ways you can deploy application to Azure App Service, ensuring you see where domain configuration fits into your overall lifecycle. Finally, the core of our video, a complete hands-on demo where we take a live Azure App Service URL and map it seamlessly to an existing custom domain. We will look at record types like A record and TXT records, discuss how to handle live site migrations with zero downtime, and verify that everything works flawlessly. For those who are new to the platform, Azure App Service is a fully managed platform as a service. It allows you to build and deploy web apps, RESTful APIs, and mobile backends without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. Whether you are using a .NET, Java, PHP, Python, or Ruby, Azure handles the scaling and security for you. You can run your apps in containers or on Windows and Linux virtual machines. Azure offers many ways to get your code into the cloud. You can use manual methods like FTP or zip deployment, IDE based integration methods like publishing directly from Visual Studio, automated CI/CD pipelines using Azure Pipelines, GitHub Actions, and Jenkins. Regardless of how your app gets onto Azure, the process of mapping your domain remains identical. First, you need to have an Azure account. Make sure your app service is created and deployed the code. Third, you must have already purchased a custom domain. Azure doesn't automatically give you a free root domain name. You need to buy one through a register. That brings us to our fourth prerequisite. You must have an administrator access to your domain register control panel. Whether you are using a GoDaddy, Namecheap, Google Domains, Cloudflare, or any other providers, you need to be able to log in and add or modify DNS settings like A records, C names, and TXT records. Once you have this, fourth thing is verification. Once the verification is done, you are completely ready to map your domain. Let's take a look at the what is configuration looks like inside the Azure portal. On the right side, I put a screenshot. When you navigate to Azure App Service under the settings menu, select the custom domain option, click on add custom domain. That open up a blade for you. That is the one you are seeing on the right side of the screen. Let's break down these critical options. Domain provider. You can choose to buy a domain directly from Microsoft using app service domain. But since we are working with an external register, we select all other domain services. When it comes to SSL certificate, Azure makes our lives incredibly easy by allowing us to select App Service Managed Certificate. This will allow automatically provision a free trusted SSL certificate for our domain once the validation is passes. When it comes to domain input, this is where you type your domain name. Example, here I am putting my domain called excellentit.com, or you can bring your own company name. Now pay close attention to the domain validation section at the bottom. Azure needs to prevent subdomain dangling and ensure that you actually own the domain you are trying to claim. To prove the ownership, Azure generates two specific records that you must copy and paste into your domain register DNS settings. The first one is a record, pointing your root domain host to the designated Azure static public IP address. A TXT record with a host name of ASUID, a long unique verification string value generated by Azure. If you are configuring a subdomain like www.yourdomain.com, Azure might instead prompt you for a CNAME record pointing to your .azure websites.net URL. If you are migrating a live production site or want zero downtime, you can safely set up these TXT verification records ahead of the time before changing your main routing records. Once you enter these records at your register, you hit the validate button at the bottom. All right, let's jump into the live demo. As you can see on my screen, I have our app service running out of dnmdemo.azurewebsites.net. It's active, but we want users to hit dnmdemo.com. Here I'm in the Azure portal. I have a sample application over here, and the custom domain only works above the free plan. So I have moved my app service plan to B1. Now let's browse this application. So this application contains a very basic ASP.NET code. Let's not worry about what we have here. Our intent is to move this particular our app with Azure website.net to our dedicated domain. So within the app service, you can click on custom domain, or left side you can click on custom domains. So this is the static IP record and this is the verification ID. As I mentioned, if you don't have a custom domain, you can go and buy from Microsoft as well. Here you need to select a resource group and select the domain you want. So select. So you can select your own domain name. It will suggest the names if it is available. So let's select .NET Education. Here you can go and provide the details and provision a domain, but I have my own domain with external register. So let's click on add custom domain. As I mentioned, if you buy domain from Microsoft, select this option. This is where you can go and select, but as I did not purchase anything, it is saying no app service domain. So I'll select the other domain. So this is the managed certificate which comes as free. You can select that. This is the free SSL, and even you can go and buy IP based SSL as well. So let me take the free SSL. Here I'll say my domain. Now it is trying to give a record and txt record. Let's go and add these entries into our external DNS provider. So I logged into my domain provider. This is my domain. So you can click on DNS records. So we have NS entry here. Let's go and add a record. So for a record, you can leave host as empty. Then let's copy a record. Let's create. Now the a record is added. Let's go and add txt record. Now a record is added. Let's add txt record. So in the host, put this particular ASUID. Then let's copy the value. So this is the content. Let's click on create. So once you add these two entries to your external DNS provider, come to the Azure and click on validate. So it says validation failed because it doesn't reflect immediately. It says you can try after 48 hours, but you can try after a couple of hours. Let's come back after a few hours. After a couple of hours, I'm trying to revalidate it. Now validation is in progress. Now it is successful. It's able to fetch our external DNS. Let's add this. It's asking for the SSL binding. Let's go and add. Let me use the free version of it. This is eligible for managed certificate. It says it takes 10 minutes to get the certificate. So let's add this. This will get updated to secured after 5 minutes. Now let's try to browse the application. So previously we browsed our application with the app name /Azure websites.net. Now this time, because our external DNS is mapped. Now if you see here, even though it's not secured, now the application is running with our custom domain called excellentit.com. Here the application is available with Azure websites.net. In this way, you can go and add custom domain and you can run your application with your own domain name. Now after a few minutes, you can see that the certificate is applied. Now it is secured. Now let's go to the application. Now you can see here, this is the default domain and this is a custom domain. So let's click on this. Still it is showing as not secure, but if you try to browse in incognito mode, so now the settings is applied. You can see that our connection is secured. Let's go to the slide. We are done with the demo. That is how simple it is to bring your custom domain into Azure App Service and secure it with a free managed SSL certificate. By leveraging TXT records for verification, you can easily map your domain or plan seamless production migration with zero service interruption. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the .NET channel for more deep dives into Azure and .NET development. Thank you so much for watching. Leave any questions you have down in the comment section below. I will see you in the next video.